You ever watch a plane full of strangers turn on each other over nothing, just raw fear and bad assumptions, and think, wow, this is humanity in a nutshell? Yeah, that's how my day started. And I'm guessing you're not gonna believe half of what happened next, but stick with me. I promise this isn't some movie cliché, even if it sounds like it. Let me back up a sec. There's this woman, Evelyn, gray hoodie, face pale as a ghost, sitting by the window in row 9 like she was trying to disappear into the fuselage. Not much to look at. Honestly, just someone you'd pass in the airport without a second thought. But something about her, made people a little nervous. Maybe it was how quiet she was. How she held onto this beat-up cloth bag like it was all she had left in the world. Anyway, we'd just hit cruising altitude, everyone settling in, businessmen tapping away on laptops. A teenager in front of me filming himself with a GoPro, some influencer types chattering about their next big brand deal, when the intercom crackled. If there's a pilot on board, please press your call button. Silence, then a few nervous laughs. One guy muttered, "What is this, a movie?" And people chuckled, the tension breaking just a little. But then that voice came again. This time softer, almost haunted. "Ghost talk. If you're listening, we need you in the cockpit." That got everyone's attention. The whole cabin seemed to hold its breath. Then, quietly, Evelyn pressed the call button. The flight attendant, Karen, all smiles and starch, hurried over. "Ma'am, please stay seated, don't panic." But Evelyn just sat there. Fingers curled around the edge of her bag. Karen's voice got sharper. "I'm sure you didn't mean to press that." But Evelyn didn't back down. She reached in her bag, pulled out this dull, heavy piece of metal. Nothing fancy, just something worn smooth by years of use. The businessman in row 5 leaned into the aisle, eyeing her like he was waiting for her to mess up. "Oh, come on. This lady's gonna play hero," he laughed, trying to get the rest of us on his side. The woman next to him, nails like stop signs, whispered, "Probably thinks she's in a Tom Hanks movie." People love to feel smarter than the quiet ones, don't they? Evelyn didn't say a word, just kicked off her shoes, stood up, barefoot, silent, and started walking down the aisle. Every step was like she was tracing the ghost of some memory. Karen followed, heels clicking, trying to sound official but looking nervous. "Ma'am, you need to sit down. This is for qualified personnel only." The kid with the anime hoodie pulled out his phone, filming now. "Yo, is she for real?" he muttered to his sister. She shrugged, chewing gum. Like this was the best in-flight entertainment she'd had in ages. The right engine shuddered. The whole plane went quiet. A baby started wailing. Then, just as Evelyn passed row 10, this woman with a designer bag stood up, snapping, "This is outrageous. Why is she even allowed near the cockpit?" Karen tried to calm her, but her voice was shaky. Then some drunk guy, shirt rumpled, cheeks flushed, blocked Evelyn's path. "Hey, lady, you think you're a hotshot? Go back to your seat." He swayed, waving his finger like a warning. Evelyn didn't even look fazed, just stepped aside. Walked on. Rosa, this tiny old woman with a rosary, shook her head at the drunk guy, beads clacking like a warning. The cockpit door was open, which nobody ever sees outside the movies. Captain standing there, gray hair, deep lines, looked tired to his bones. But when he saw Evelyn, he straightened up and gave this sharp, crisp salute. No words, just respect. The laughter behind her died out quick. She stepped into the cockpit, the door shut, and suddenly the whole plane was buzzing. Whispers, questions, side eyes. The businessman sank back into his seat, smirk gone, while Karen just stood there, lips pressed tight. That's when you realize, nobody really knows what courage looks like until they see it up close. Inside, the co-pilot, Derek, big jaw, skeptical eyes, turned, sneering, "Your ghost hawk? You ever even flown a Dreamliner?" She didn't answer, just scanned the controls, eyes moving fast, hands steady. She shrugged off her hoodie, plain tee underneath, faded tattoo on her wrist. Opie Echo G12. Captain Harrington clocked it right away, something softened in his face. Derek just kept running his mouth, but you could feel the mood shift. Evelyn pulled out a battered notebook, didn't open it, just held it. "It's my son's," she said, so soft I almost missed it. Back in the cabin, chaos was building. Greg, turns out the business guy had a name, stood up yelling, "This is ridiculous. She's nobody." Marissa, the influencer, started live tweeting. "Passenger in sweatshirt takes over plane, #disaster. In row 14, this guy in a denim jacket finally spoke up, holding a photo of a soldier. "You don't know her," he growled. "You'd be wise to let her work." Greg sneered. But the man didn't back down. Sometimes the quiet ones know the most. Meanwhile, Leia, a young flight attendant, was picking up napkins she'd dropped, hands shaking. She whispered, "She's not a nobody." And a mom nearby squeezed her arm. "You're right. She's doing something none of them can." It was like these tiny moments of solidarity started to flicker, even as panic was boiling over. Back in the cockpit, Harrington muttered, "You've flown this bird before, haven't you?" Evelyn nodded once. "Dreamliner, one engine, 50-meter visibility," she recited. "Cool as ice." The technician on the radio kept saying, "No outsiders on the controls." But Harrington ignored him, watching Evelyn as she worked. When she rolled up her sleeve, the tattoo was like a password. Doors opened, doubts quieted. The plane shook, tilting hard, people screaming now. In the back, the kid with glasses sobbed into his mom's sweater. She just held him, whispering, "We'll be okay." The cabin was a mess. Karen trying to keep order, Marissa filming, Greg shouting. But suddenly, the shaking eased. Evelyn had flipped a switch, something old school. Military. The radar shifted, lights flickered, and for the first time, hope crept in. Down the aisle, a man in a pilot's jacket stood up. "I knew a ghost hawk once. Saved my squad in 14. If that's her, you all owe her your lives." Some people rolled their eyes, but most just went quiet, listening to the storm outside and the steady hum of the engines. Then, a new twist. Evelyn spotted a faint blip on the radar. "Jamming," she murmured. Harrington's eyes widened. "Jamming in this storm?" She didn't answer, just worked the controls. The young guy in the blazer near the front started filming a rant. "This is a safety violation. I'm posting this." But as the turbulence faded, even he paused, confusion on his face. When the plane finally steadied, the cabin was transformed. The nurse from row 7 held her son tighter. Karen stood by the galley, just watching. A woman in row 15 stood up, voice shaking but loud. "She's keeping us alive. You should thank her." Even Greg had nothing left to say, and Marissa's phone slipped out of her hand. Hours later, we landed in Tokyo, smoothest landing I've ever felt, like we'd floated onto the tarmac. The runway was packed with emergency vehicles, reporters swarming. Evelyn walked off the plane last, feet bare, bag clutched tight. Cameras flashed, questions fired. "Why didn't you say who you were? Why hide your skills?" She just walked, eyes on the ground, stopping only when a man pointed out the framed photo in her bag. "That's her son, system failure, years ago." She warned them. Nobody listened. Evelyn paused at the gate, reporters still shouting. She turned just slightly, voice steady but gentle. "I didn't save you for recognition. I did it because I once lost someone the world forgot." The crowd went quiet. Crew members, special ops by the look of them, saluted as she passed. The whole terminal, for a moment, just stilled. A little boy asked his mom, "Why is everyone standing so straight?" She smiled. "Because some heroes only need to be called once. The rest of us, well," Greg's business was trashed by morning. Marissa's sponsors dropped her. Karen posted a shaky apology that went viral. But she just kept replaying the way Evelyn looked at her, not angry, just tired. And Mia, the teenage girl's video of Evelyn walking into the cockpit, racked up millions of views, comments pouring in. "Never judge by a hoodie. Who is Ghost Hawk?" But Evelyn didn't care about any of that. She walked out into the Tokyo night, sky clear, lights stretching on forever. She looked up at another plane overhead, breathed out slow, like she was letting go of a lifetime's worth of pain. Some scars you never really see. Some truths you can't ever quite explain. But she did what she came to do. Sometimes that's enough. Now, I want to know, what would you have done? Who gets to decide who's a hero and who's just a stranger on a plane? Drop your thoughts below. Hit follow if you want to walk with me through more stories of heartbreak, betrayal, and finally, just maybe, healing. Where are you watching from? Let's keep this conversation flying.